Hi, welcome. Welcome to another episode of Indie Authors. Tonight is Indie Authors number 38, Writing Goals and New Year's Resolutions, all wrapped up into one nice, tidy package. I'm your host, Jason Matthews, and I have a wonderful panel of authors with us tonight. We have author Alana Woods, author of Imbroglio and other books. Thanks for being with us, Alana.
My pleasure, Jason.
We have Emily Hill, author of Ghost Stories and the Unexplained and other books. Thanks for being with us, Emily.
It's a thrill to be here.
We have Jana Matthews, author of New Moon Manifesting and other books. Thank you for being with us, Jana.
Thank you, Jason.
And we also have Lisa Grace, author of the Angel series and other books. Thanks for being with us, Lisa.
Thanks, Jason. It's great to be here.
Okay. It is the first week of January. And what I wanted to do was talk about New Year's resolutions because I think most of us have them. Actually, quick raise of hand if you made any New Year's resolution for 2013. Okay, half of a hand for Alana. Okay, everyone else. But I think they're easy to make. Resolutions are easy to make, and they're often difficult to follow through with. And I think as writers, we're constantly challenging ourselves to get work done, and it's not easy. And resolutions are an easy thing to say, but a tough thing to follow up with. Jana, you told me an interesting story about working as a fitness instructor at a health club, and what was your experience with New Year's resolutions in that capacity?
It was an interesting trend. I was in the industry for 14 years, and the first 3 weeks of every new year, we had packed classes. There were probably 3 times as many people as normal. And then after that 3-week period, about half that group would drop off. And by a 6-week period, you'd be back to your normal group. Mm-hmm. So most people don't last beyond the 6 weeks.
Okay. Well, and that would be true with me for a lot of my New Year's resolutions. And I think one of my problems, well, actually, I'm going to get to it just a second. Since everyone raised their hands, I'd like to ask the other authors briefly. Alana, could you share with me what your New Year's resolutions are?
Well, I wouldn't really call it a resolution as such. I've never been a big believer in New Year's resolutions. I mean, resolutions any time of the year. But I think if I have ever made New Year's resolutions, immediately I've felt that sense of doom settle on me, my shoulders, because I've known that I've just set myself up for failure. So I tend to not look upon them as New Year's resolutions. But the only one I have made this year is to rewrite my 3rd novel, because I've put it off for 2 years because I've been busy with the other 2 novels promoting and marketing and all the rest of it. So I've sort of felt that I had an excuse for not getting back to the 3rd one. But I mean, there comes a point where you think this is ridiculous. I've got to get back to it. So that's my resolution for this year. I must finish that 3rd novel.
That's great. We're going to talk about that in a little bit because I have the exact same resolution. Emily, can you share what yours are?
Yes, my New Year's resolution is to, as aggressively as possible, find as many fresh, fun marketing ideas, tricks, tips as possible. And I'm at the stage in my writing where I am working on a book to be released in 2013, and not really marketing my books that aggressively, but I still want it to be fun for the people who I've met along the way, and I've found some kind of fun tricks that pique interest that I'm going to use. And I think it's interesting that we said we drop our resolutions within the first 6 weeks. Frankly, I'm kind of a rut person, and I find that it's really a challenge not to drop this one resolution in 6 days, let alone 6 weeks. So it's really going to be a bit of a challenge, but I think that it's something that is a growth potential for me.
Okay. Lisa, same question to you. Can you share your New Year's resolutions?
Yes. Well, last year I feel like I slacked off a little bit. I only wrote and published 3 books. So this year my goal is to do 4 to 6, just to write more because I really did waste a lot of time. So part of my resolution is to reevaluate what I did this previous year. And because of the movie deal contract, I did kind of slack off a little bit and spend some time worrying about things beyond my control. And so this year I want to channel more of that energy into writing. And I do have 4 new books. Well, I've got 6 new books planned that I would like to write, and I would like to get at least 4 of those edited and published before the end of the year. Plus, I've never put out a paperback on CreateSpace, and I've never released an audiobook. So my 15th Star book, I want to release a paper version through CreateSpace and the audio version through ACX Audible.
Okay, great. And real briefly, I'll share mine. Like Elena, I want to finish the third novel that I started in 2011, and then I did no work on it at all in 2012, so I want to get that novel finished. I also want to sell as many of my novels as I do my nonfiction. That's a goal. And I also want to do at least one speaking event where I teach self-publishing, hopefully a seminar. So those are my 3 big ones. Jana, listening to what you've heard from our panel so far, what are some of your initial thoughts or ideas about how to help us manifest our goals?
To make sure you're staying patient with yourself. You're going to have highs and lows with everything that you do. There's an ebb and flow and a natural flow of life, and so you have to honor that as you go through the process. I think most people try to force things to happen versus allowing them to happen in the right time frame. So just more than anything, stay away from pushing yourself too hard when you feel the time to back off.
That sounds great. I want to ask a little bit about specifics because I find that I tend to make very vague New Year's resolutions. For example, here are my resolutions: finish the novel, increase sales, and do a speaking seminar. My issue with my goals is that they're all very, very vague, and I'm not sure that I'm going to follow through and have any luck at fulfilling them. So what I've decided to do is start adding actions that I can be held accountable. For example, for finishing the novel, I can attempt to either write 500 words a day or 3,500 words a week. I can attempt to finish a chapter each week. I can submit a chapter to a critique group twice a week. These are all small things that I can measure and actually check off on a calendar. For increasing my sales for my novels, I can attempt to sell 5 more novels this month than last month, and then the next month 10 more novels, etc. Or I could spend 2 hours per week marketing my novels, because all I do is market my how-to books right now. I could also make sure that I write 1 blog post per week about my novels or subjects within them. For the speaking and teaching seminar, I could contact a promotional company once per week and inquire about possibilities. And I could also contact a conference venue once a week to inquire. And I can also write a plan with all the needed materials and information. These are little steps that will go hand in hand with my big steps. So anyway, that is something I think is important for me anyway. If I just make a vague, this is what I want to do, I usually don't follow through with it. But I'm guessing that this might not be true for all the authors in our group. Lisa, it sounds like you were really good at getting lots of work done just by saying, I want to get lots of work done.
Oh, no. I have charts. For instance, what I do is if a novel is 80,000 words, I'll make an 8 by 10 grid, And then every 1,000 words I type, I reward myself by coloring in a block. And I guess I have a little bit of OCD because once I start coloring in the blocks, I have a need to finish the row, and then I have a need to finish, the whole thing. So that really, those little reward systems really keep me going. Plus, I do set daily deadlines, weekly deadlines, monthly deadlines. I also have a dream poster for things beyond my control. Like multi-million-dollar amounts I'd like to get for the paperback in the Angel series, along with the movie. I already got the movie contract, so that's really cool. But I do have a dream poster that has really big dreams on it, so that my subconscious can go to work for me. But I do plan things out very much. I'm very much a planner. So, and that's why I get so much done, because I hold myself accountable. When I'm planning out my schedules for the day, the week, and the month, I'm the boss. And then when I go to work, I'm the employee. And the boss can always fire the employee. So, and I will. If I don't do my work, I'm letting myself down. So that's why I think I'm setting fairly reasonable goals for me, because I know I'm capable of writing 2,000 words a day. Well, times 365 days in a year, that's over 700,000 words. And I write short novels, 60 to 80,000 words. So it leaves plenty of time for editing and marketing and everything else if I use my time wisely.
Okay. Jana, we heard Lisa talking about visualization. Visualization is an important element in manifesting that I've read on your website. Can you tell us more about visualization?
Absolutely. It's absolutely vital. If you can't see yourself having it or doing what it is you want, there's no way you're going to achieve it, because all it is some imaginary number or some imaginary, some obscure thing. And so you really have to be able to, see yourself achieving the goal and writing the book and getting the sales and, the house and the cars and everything else that you want that comes along with it. And every single day, if you can just sit down for 5 or 10 minutes and just, think about what it is that you want and allow your subconscious, like Lisa says, to bring everything to you, then it makes it so much easier, because our monkey mind wants to figure out every step. And it can't do that. We need to allow, the other parts of the universe to assist us with the process.
Jana, I want to stay with you for a second, because I read something that you wrote that said, in addition to writing down or visualizing what do I want, you also talk about asking yourself, why do I want this? Is that an important part of manifesting or achieving goals?
Absolutely. And one of the big challenges is people don't know what they want. Someone else may have told them that, maybe you're good at this. Someone else may have actually have it, and you think, oh, that might be cool to have that or to do that. And, sometimes people want it for their kids or their spouse, or, to inflate their ego or feel more important or whatever it is. And so you have to identify, what's the motivating factor for me doing this? And oftentimes our goals are sort of self-centered. And if we can move beyond our goals and integrate them with other people, we can become more successful that much faster. For example, if I have a goal that I just want to make $1 million this year, that's great, and it's going to benefit my family. But if my goal is to change 1,000 people's lives because of the work that I do, then it completely shifts my focus away from just me and my family to all these other people whose lives will benefit as a result.
Okay. Alana, we heard Lisa go into great detail about how she breaks down achieving her goals. Do you want to finish this third novel? Do you have of ways of breaking it down, or is that important to you for achieving your goals?
No, I'm very slack. I'm a seat of the pants flyer. But I keep a diary. I got into the habit of it at work because I ran a publishing unit and I had dozens of things that had to be done every day. And if I didn't make a list of those things and tick them off as they were done, and then transfer what weren't done to the next page for the next day, I was lost because there was just so much happening. And I do that at home as well. I always make lists. I've got a big diary that I make a list of everything I want to do for the day. And that now most of it is to do with writing, the promoting and marketing of the books already published, and the writing that I need to do. As far as you know, the broad thinking, I'm the classic writer in that I have stories that I want to tell, and that drives me. I just want to see them on paper. So that's my driving force, just wanting to see those stories on paper. But I have just so much admiration for Lisa. 4 to 6 books a year. Good grief.
Okay. Now,
That doesn't mean I'll do it. I'm going to work towards it. And of course, during the editing phase, things may take. There's other people involved. Things may take a little bit longer. But at least I feel if I'm pressing forward towards it, if I only get halfway to my goal, at least I've really accomplished something. For me.
That's just amazing. I find you amazing, Lisa.
Thank you.
well, we all do. Speaking of amazing, Emily Hill, you are really going to venture out into just trying a little bit of everything, you told me. I know that you're already active doing a lot of things as it is to market your books, but you really want to try some new things. How do you go about doing something like that and keeping it to some kind of a program that you can hopefully monitor what's working and what's not working?
Well, I really am flying by the seat of my pants on this one. Last year, I really did work hard at some financial goals, and I have 7 titles up now. So this is kind of my girls just want to have fun year. And I do have a tweet account, Emily_pub_coach, that a lot of marketing gurus leave posts on with great ideas for marketing. Twit polls is a great fun platform, and it's sheer fun. It's just silly fun. Take a poll of all your followers. Chacha.com. Chacha.com is a platform that has progression slides of 9 bad makeup ideas and stuff like that. I mean, it's silly stuff that I just want to try to keep interest, have fun, and see what's out there for marketing books. I'm a big copycat. A lot of people will blog about what their new ideas are, and I don't pay as much attention to others' blogs as I should, but if an idea comes across my email account or into my Twitter account, I'll see how that author did what they did and copy it. So I'm just out there to have fun this year. So that's the big deal with me.
Okay. Jana, you talk in your book about obvious action versus inspired action. And these are both actions that are working towards achieving your goals. What's the difference between an obvious action and an inspired action?
Well, I think the word obvious is pretty understandable, that if you're trying to get a book out there, you have to sit down and write. It's not going to write itself. And inspired action is, when I sit down and think about something or meditate on it or whatever, if I come up with an idea or if something is spontaneous and encouraging me to do something, then I need to follow through with that, because there are windows of opportunities that present themselves. And if we capture those moments, we can move ahead of the game by leaps and bounds. Often we discount them and sort of, neglect or deny what we hear. We think, oh, that's not the right answer, the right way to do things. But how do you know until you try? I'm all for having fun and trying all these different things until it works. And that's sort of the way I was raised, to try different stuff until you find what you like. So it's a philosophy that I've integrated with the goal-setting process, too.
And I've heard a lot of either detailed or small bits of description from the rest of our panel. Jana, you talk a lot about detailed description for achieving these goals. Can you tell us a little bit more about how we might create more detail in our descriptions and how that can help us?
And you're talking about description of your goals?
Yeah, the things that we're trying to accomplish.
I like to integrate all of the senses. So what does it feel like if I'm, participating in a particular event, and how are other people feeling, and what is it, what sensations am I recognizing as I'm sort of experiencing these things? Am I excited? Am I enthusiastic? Am I, is it, because sometimes we don't know what it's going to end up being like. It's until we actually go through the process, it's hard to know if that's really something you will like. It's like when you say, oh, I want to teach an event, how do you know if you'll like it until you do it? So, you sort of have to engage all the senses and imagine what it's like, and then go out and try it. And if it works for you, great. And if it doesn't, then keep trying different stuff.
Okay, we're getting close to the end of our time. I just want to ask the panel if they have any final thoughts they'd like to share on writing resolutions, goals, achieving what we want. Lisa, anything you want to add?
Yes. For instance, as Jana was speaking, which I think is a great idea to get all your senses involved. Like I love having a great smelling cup of coffee, or I love Jana, that place where you get these herbal infusions. So, that involves the taste and the smell, and also maybe listening to music. I know people like to do that. But also, if you've made a resolution and you know it's something you really don't want to do, like I don't want to blog, and I hate the idea of blogging. I won't do it. And I've heard so many authors say, well, my resolution's to do this blogging thing, even though they're cringing at it. Yeah. I think they shouldn't, because maybe that's a little bit soul-destroying if that much apathy towards it already. Anyway, so I was going to say, you don't have to force yourself to do certain things.
Absolutely. We need to pick our battles. Emily, it sounds like you're going to be experiencing some interesting choices with picking your battles. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share?
I think that affirmations are very important. I agree with that. Visualization concept has been very successful for me in the past. So yay, Jana, for bringing that up and explaining it to the audience. I think it's so invaluable. And Lisa's idea about knowing when it's not going to be fun, drop it. If blogging is not your deal, go on to something else, because I found there's a myriad of opportunities and options and tools that you can choose from that are fun, that will be fun for you. And so go ahead and give it a go.
Fantastic. Alana, can you share any final thoughts on the subject?
Yes, I can. Talking about blogging, when I first thought about it, yes, I did think, oh, gee whiz, every week in and out. But I ended up channeling what I actually do. I read. Mm-hmm. And I made a resolution to read indie authors and to review the books that I read. So I have a blog every Sunday where I do a review of the book that I've read. About 6 or 7 weeks ago, I hit upon the idea of interviewing the author and having the interview accompany the review, and the interview was about the book. So, and I think that's a win-win situation for both the author, because they get the review and the interview out there, but it's also a win for me too, because people who are interested in that author are coming to my blog site. Mm-hmm. So that's the way I've channeled blogging.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fantastic idea, Elena. I could see that really developing in time quickly. Mm-hmm. I wish you the best with that. Jana, we want to thank you again for being with us. If anyone's interested in contacting Jana and asking more specific questions, her website is newmoonmanifesting.com. Any final thoughts, Jana, before we hang up tonight?
Number one is follow your heart and follow your passion, because without passion, none of your goals will ever transpire into anything more than a dream.
Okay.
Very good.
I can live with that. Well, I want to thank
Yes.
all of our panel of authors. Thanks for being here with us. Viewers, we have a new show every week, Mondays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sometimes it starts a few minutes late, as it did tonight because of technical difficulties. But you can always find all of our indie author shows with a YouTube search, just indie authors, numbers 1 through 38 at this point. We'll have more in the future. Thanks, everybody, for being with us.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
Good night.
Good night,
Good night.
everyone.
Good night, everyone. Thank
Good night,
you.
everybody.